I am nearly at a loss for words for what I just saw. Tonight we got to watch the Sacramento Kings play the Golden State Warriors in the first round in the first game of the Western Conference playoffs. The Sacramento Kings won this game 126 to 123, a game that could be the game of the year to this point. Unbelievable shot making, probably some of the best shot making I've ever seen in an NBA game between two of the best offenses. The Sacramento Kings quite literally have the number one offensive rating of all time. And we know what the Golden State Warriors represent with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and the return of Andrew Wiggins. The crowd in Sacramento was the most electric NBA crowd I've ever seen in my entire life. They were going bonkers. I saw stuff on Twitter saying the Apple Watches were telling people that the stadium was too loud. And unbelievable atmosphere. And this is why we love the NBA. And this is why we were so pumped to get the Sacramento Kings, the Light the Beam Kings, back into the NBA playoffs. We're going to break down this game a little bit, what I saw from both sides. Obviously, game one does not decide the series. There's a lot to look at and a lot to talk about. But what we do want to focus on is some of the things we saw in this game and how we think they could impact the series going forward. And it'll be interesting to see what adjustments both coaches make, because we know that both of these coaches are two of the best coaches in the entire NBA. Steve Kerr has made the playoffs 6 times. He's made the finals all 6 of those times. Mike Brown will win Coach of the Year this year. He made the NBA Finals with LeBron James in 2007 with the Cleveland Cavaliers. And he has this team playing at a very high level. Before we get into it, take a second to subscribe to the channel. We're at almost 1,200 subscribers. And we're going to be covering this entire NBA playoffs. So take a second to subscribe. We are hyped about the Kings over here. Have been all year. They're one of my top 3 favorite teams to watch in the entire NBA. And so tonight, the thing that stands out, if you're someone that hasn't got a chance to watch the Kings all year, you got to see exactly what they've done all season long. They at all times pretty much have 5 guys on the court that are a legitimate threat to score the basketball. And in the fourth quarter, this guy named De'Aaron Fox becomes unguardable. The superlatives you can use for the shot making he has every single game in the fourth quarter. Every time I've turned on the Kings, it feels like De'Aaron Fox is like good for 3 quarters, and then in the fourth quarter becomes a top 10 player in the entire NBA, and that's the reason he'll win the Clutch Player of the Year award. The jump he's made from season to season is so impressive. We saw De'Aaron Fox play big in big tournament games in college, but we never got the opportunity to see De'Aaron Fox play in super meaningful NBA games, and tonight was his first opportunity, and he scored the second most points anyone ever has in a playoff debut. He had 38 points, 4 threes, 13 to 27 from the field, 5 assists, 3 steals. And in the fourth quarter, just absolutely took the game over. Steph Curry had a chance to tie this game to send it into overtime, and he missed it a little to the left. Steph had 30 points, 6 rebounds. We know what Steph Curry represents. We know there's a reason that Steph is easily a top 15 player of all time. You could argue top 10 player of all time. But the Sacramento Kings went toe-to-toe with that squad tonight, and it was so impressive. So when you look at this Kings roster, they have 7 to 8 guys that are legitimate players for them and can play in big minutes and big moments. Davion Mitchell, even off the bench, can come in and guard guys. Malik Monk had 32 points, so Fox and Monk together tonight scored 70 points between the two of them. Harrison Barnes, 13 points, and a little bit of a chance to get revenge on the Golden State Warriors that moved on from him when they got Kevin Durant. Domantas Sabonis, honestly, really struggled tonight offensively, but 16 rebounds, still finding ways to impact the game, even when you're having an off night, even when the shot's not falling. Now, when the Kings came out of the gate, that crowd went nuts, and being able to calm yourself down and being able to get into playing basketball the way you normally play and not letting that crowd overwhelm you takes a little bit of time. So the Kings were down at halftime of this game. They were down 6 going into halftime, and at the end of the third made a massive run to take a 1-point lead going into the fourth quarter. And in the fourth quarter, they won that quarter by 2. So the Sacramento Kings settled in. They have a guy who plays really good down the stretch. They're really good at both home and away. They're the best away team in the Western Conference. So even when they go to Golden State, there's a chance they could steal a win. So that's why I think that you I don't think people are giving the Sacramento Kings the respect they deserve. In the media, I'm hearing most people will pick the Warriors with the return of Andrew Wiggins. I totally get that the Warriors are a force to be reckoned with. There's a reason that they have 4 NBA championships. There's a reason that they are coming off an NBA championship. Steph Curry was the finals MVP, and we all know what the Warriors represent. But this Sacramento Kings team has played a lot of games together, and I put real value. It's something that I kept saying repeatedly. I put value in games played together and being able to develop that chemistry. And you know when that matters most is late down the stretch in games like tonight, that they know how to play off of each other. They know who they want to get the ball to in those moments. Because you've all played 70 plus games together, I think that really matters. And when you're looking at the Warriors, obviously they have a lot of chemistry from the time together. But DiVincenzo, first year playing with the squad. Gary Payton was with the Portland Trailblazers for quite a bit of the year. Andrew Wiggins been out for a few months. Other guys have missed games. So talking about just figuring out your rotations, figuring out who's closing, who's going to take your shots at the end of games. Now, obviously, Steph's going to take a lot of them. We know Klay Thompson can also hit them. Now, quickly, Sacramento Kings, I want to look at some more of the team stats in general. Sacramento Kings, the Warriors actually shot a little better from the field. Sacramento shot a little better from 3, even though the Warriors shot 53s, 32%. Kings shot 81% from the free throw line. That'll work. 26 free throws. They 50 rebounds to 41, so they won the rebounding battle by 9. Warriors won the assist battle, turnover battle. Kings won by a little bit. It was pretty close. Points in the paint was what I wanted to point out. Sacramento Kings had 60 in the paint, and the Warriors had 44. So the Kings did a good job of getting to the bucket, getting easy shots, getting themselves going, and having guys that came in and had productive minutes. I even think Alex Lynn came in and gave him some pretty good minutes off the bench. He had 4.7 rebounds, had a block that was pretty nice. So I'm pumped what I saw from the Kings. Now, if you're the Warriors, I'm not super discouraged yet if I'm the Warriors either. Steph had 30, looked like vintage Steph. Klay Thompson had 21. He played pretty well, hit 5 threes. Andrew Wiggins in his first game back was excellent, 17 points. And then Jordan Poole gave you 17 points. The only thing I slightly worry about is their depth is a little worse than last year. You lost, and it's something that people aren't really talking about, but you lost Otto Porter Jr., who was a guy who contributed for you last year. And just in general, the roster's a touch different. You were expecting some of those young guys to come in and take in some of the roles. You were hoping that James Wiseman, Jonathan Kuminga, guys like that were going to be able to take this team to the next level, but they just weren't able to, they weren't really able to this year, and maybe they will here in a few years. But all in all, I'm pumped for the Kings. I think you got to feel great if you're a Kings fan. You got to feel great about where this series is heading. This was a big win. The Kings needed this for confidence. They needed it for the young guys just getting that playoff intensity, knowing the difference. You saw that the playoff intensity is a real thing. The way that the crowd is reacting, the volume, it was 10:34 left in the fourth quarter, and I was watching this game with someone else, and I looked over at him and was like, this feels like the final minute of the quarter, the way that the crowd's reacting to every single shot. It feels like every possession matters, every possession is important, and I think the Kings really took advantage of that, and that's why they have the best offense in the entire NBA, the best offense of all time. And yes, your defense struggles a little bit at times, but if you're able to get a couple timely stops down the stretch, and you get good buckets, and you have a guy like De'Aaron Fox that can hit big shots in big moments, you have a chance against the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors have been the worst road playoff team in the entire NBA this year. So, yes, you have a chance in this series. and then you move on, you could potentially play either the Lakers or Grizzlies, you absolutely have a chance in that series. And you're talking about a team that's alive for a playoff run. They're super alive for a playoff run. Can't wait to watch the adjustments made by both coaches. You know that they'll both have some pretty different game plans going into game 2. And it'll be a really important game for both teams. So we'll see what happens. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Appreciate y'all watching. Cyborg out.